Hi, I'm Betsy Barbieux, and this is CAM Matters. Come join us today as we talk about 10 characteristics of an effective board member. It's election time, and we're soliciting board members, so come join us as we talk about those characteristics that will make you a team player.
Welcome to CAM Matters, Condos, Co-ops, HOAs, and beyond. Betsy Barbieux is an informational leader in Florida on community association living, rights, and obligations. She is an expert on the rights and obligations of owners as well as the association. If you live or are planning to live in the state of Florida, there's a good chance you'll be part of a community association. And by the end of this show, you'll know a little bit more about community associations and why they matter.
Well, this is going to be a fun one. We're going to be talking about, well, first of all, welcome, Betsy Barbieux, Suzanne, Lynn. Today we're going to be talking about what makes good board members. Oh my goodness.
You started out already with fun.
We're just going to jump right in. All right, so first of all, let's talk about why are board members needed? Where do they come from? And what are they kind of expected to do before we talk about whether they're good or they stink?
Well, there's some of both.
Yeah, right?
There's some of both. But no, our community associations are corporations. They're Florida corporations, and all corporations have to have board of directors. Boards of directors are elected by the owners, by the membership.
Okay.
So if you think about the corporation, a corporation has to have people.
Okay.
All right?
Yep.
So our corporations, the people they have, we don't call them stockholders, we call them members.
Right.
And anyone who buys into a community, whether it's a condo or a cooperative or a homeowner association, has become a member of this corporation.
Okay.
So the membership, in order to do business, and this is just corporate law, this has nothing to do with community associations, it's just the way corporations work. Mm-hmm. The big group, like the stockholders or the members, elect a leadership group.
Right.
And here our members, the owners in our community, elect a leadership group.
Right.
That leadership group number is dictated by your governing documents. And remember, in years past, I've waved those big packages of papers in front of you. It's dictated in there as to how many board members you'll have. The statute requires at least 3 in most circumstances, but communities can have 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, 10, 11, 12.
What's the biggest you've ever seen?
The one that I'm actually consulting with right now is 9.
Oh, it's a good size.
Mm-hmm. Which is probably too big.
Okay.
But this one is working real well together, though.
So what do they do? What's their responsibility?
The board is responsible for the business of the community, not the social activities.
Okay.
We've had shows on that before, too. Not the social activities, not the special interest groups and clubs. They're responsible for the business, which means, to me, business is two aspects. Meetings, corporations, go back to corporations, have groups of people who need to meet.
Right.
You've got a big group that needs to meet, the membership. You've got the boards that need to meet, and then you've got committees. Okay. So your business, part of that business is to make sure that you have the appropriate meetings. And the minutes then, we did a show on minutes, the minutes that come from those meetings. That's just a regular corporation. That's what all corporations do. Right. There are some statutory requirements then for those meetings for us, for our communities, that other corporations, family corporations, business corporations, banking corporations, hospital foundations, there are meeting requirements that we have that they don't have.
Okay.
So we have then those peculiar Florida laws on meetings. The other thing that corporations have and need is money. Right. So the board of directors oversees all of the aspects of the financials.
Not just current, but projecting
into the future, because we have to save strategically for the replacement of what I call the big ticket items, like the roof, the paving, painting, elevators, fire suppression systems, concrete railings, rebar, those balconies, that stick out.
That's important.
They get chopped off and rebuilt every so often, 30 years or so.
Right.
Those have to be planned. You have to plan for all of that replacement. That means ongoing maintenance, the lawn being mowed, the pool being cleaned, buildings being cleaned. every year. So you've got your ongoing maintenance, you've got then the long-term maintenance and replacement, so those financial things. The other thing would be the collection of the assessments, and you know what all of that is because you've created a budget. So they're responsible for the budgeting process and making sure that there's enough money to pay for everything that needs to be paid for. The other part of the business that the board oversees is the enforcement of the documents.
Okay.
When you move into a community association, you voluntarily trade off some of your rights to do with your property what you want to
Right.
in exchange for a lifestyle of some kind or amenities or use of amenities. So there are people who want both.
Right. They want to be able to park their car on the grass.
And change the oil. Yeah. Yeah. And you may have given up that right to do that when you move into this community. So then there is that enforcement aspect.
Right.
Now, there are a lot of communities that have, a $500,000 budget is small. So they might have a $500,000 to $250,000, $2 million, $5 million budget. So we're talking big business. Most board members do not have the expertise to handle all of that, nor do they want it.
Right.
They live in their community so they can enjoy the amenities.
Right.
So you hire professional management.
Yeah.
You hire, and we've had a show on that.
Yeah.
And what does the professional management, the CAM, do?
Right.
The problem is you can hire someone to do your tasks. The board can hire a professional to do their tasks.
Gotcha.
But the board cannot delegate away their responsibility.
Okay.
So
That's a great way to say it.
the CAM, your professional, you can delegate every task that a board member has. They can chair the meeting. They can do the financials. They can sign a check. They can deal with the vendors. They can deal with the professionals like the CPAs and the attorneys.
But you still need a board.
But you still have to have a
Right.
board. The buck stops with the board.
Okay.
So the board is still ultimately responsible for everything that happens in the community, which means they do need to meet.
That's why they get paid so well, right?
Right. Yeah, it's a volunteer position.
yeah.
Don't think that you're going to get paid to do this. The managers are the ones that you want to pay to do this. No, it's not really written in concrete anywhere, but my position is if you begin to pay a board member to be a board member, you've put them in a position of needing a manager's license.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Because now they're being paid to do their job, which is...
Now they really are answering to, instead of being part of, there's now a hierarchy of, a little favor here. That's where, we'll have mobster gangs in neighborhoods before we know it if we start doing that. Can't do that.
No, we're not going to pay board members.
No. But there is an advantage to knowing, as you're walking down the street, seeing someone walk the dog, hey, would they be good to be on the board? There's a kind of a checklist. While some places will be happy to get anybody to fill the seats.
Well, there's a lot of apathy.
Yeah.
And we can kind of circle back and tag back to if your meetings are going bad, then why would you want to be a board member and subject yourself to that kind of inhumane treatment? And when a board meeting should only last an hour and it lasted 4 hours, why would you want to participate in that?
Right. Well, it shows that there's probably something unhealthy. Then it's harder to get board members.
Yeah.
Let's talk about why it's important to maybe look at the personality traits and the strengths and weaknesses, what's best to be looking for. We've got a little list here. We'll do maybe the first 5 and then we'll take a break.
Okay.
Does that sound good? So why don't we start with the first one?
Consistent. And by the way, I didn't make these up. I got them from another manager who uses them when he solicits candidates for the board, when they send out their notices. He sends this out and it says, this is what it takes to be a good board member to serve in our community.
Pulse. A pulse? No? Like just being alive?
Oh, breathing.
Yeah,
breathing.
Yeah,
breathing.
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 All right, so consistent.
Well, they need to be consistent two ways. First of all, they need to show up for their meetings, and they need to be consistent in equitably enforcing the rules and regulations. They need to be consistent. You can't show favoritism.
Sure.
And the best way to be consistent is not to answer a question when you're out walking the dog. That's the best way to be consistent.
Great idea.
What you should say is, and depending on what your manager's name is, let's call him Matthew, and when an owner comes up and asks you a question, can they do this or that or the other, you just say, have you talked with Matthew? Ask him.
Yeah.
Board members will be better and be consistent by directing all questions back to management.
Yeah.
If a board member gives an answer and says, well, in my opinion, I think that you could do this, that's what that owner is going to hear, and that's what they're going to go with. And that might have been your opinion, but it might not have been the truth of what that person can do. So consistent with showing up, consistent with participating in your meetings, and consistent in the application, the equitable application of the rules and regulations.
Very good. Okay, so then consistent, fair. We hit on fair.
Yeah, fair. It was sort of fair, as in you need to set aside your personal relationships with other people. It could be that your best friend, neighbor is delinquent and they still don't pay and they still don't pay and they still don't pay. So now you have to go through the foreclosure proceedings, collection and foreclosure, however your community does that. And you can't not do that because they're a friend.
Yeah, or they're not picking up after their pet, or they've got a sign that's more like advertising. There's so many gray lines where you just go, and that's where the CAM comes in. You can be like,
actually, that's one thing that we as CAMs know that we do. We're the bad guy.
Yeah.
We're
so the board members don't have to be the bad
board
guy.
members shouldn't have to do that.
But they should be fair. Conscientious.
And integrity.
What's that mean to you?
Conscientious means being aware of what needs to be done, being honest, being having integrity, being known for what you see is what you get, and that you don't say one thing to this person and another thing to this person.
Yeah.
You're going to be consistent.
Yeah.
A good reputation maybe is a way to say conscientious.
Yeah. And then detail-oriented.
Detail-oriented.
That would rule
now we get into the brain,
a lot of us out.
Now we get into the brain dominance thing.
Yeah.
And if you're left-brained, the detail-oriented is great. You understand tasks, you understand schedules and time frames and bullet points. You understand those things. The right brain is more, actually the right brain is going to be the one who has the harder time being fair. Because those personal relationships are going to be really, really important. And they would lay aside the rules for the personal relationship.
Now, this doesn't get you, if you're weak and detail-oriented, that doesn't get you out of the running.
No,
It just means that maybe there's a place for you that if you're aware that, look, you don't want me as treasurer. I'm not detail-oriented, right?
But the detail-oriented is good when it comes to black and white equitable enforcement of the rules. But detail-oriented, you can take a strength and push it too far.
Sure. With any.
And you can take that detail-orientedness, which some people do, and push it way too far. And I don't know.
People are coming to mind. It's just strange.
Nitpicky,
it's just
fussy, hard to deal with. And lo and behold, your documents are written horribly.
Oh.
They're horrible.
Yeah.
Most documents contradict each other in some way or another, and most documents most documents are silent in addressing certain issues. So if you're looking for black and white detail everywhere, you're not going to find it. And you have to remember the greater goal. The greater goal is to move forward. Boards stall for weeks and months. They stall over little bitty details that they're waiting for some clarity to evolve out of the documents, which are not going to come.
Right.
And instead, there are several procedures you can actually use to draw a line in the sand and say, this is what we're doing to move forward.
Right, right.
The goal is to move forward. You don't stall. You don't revisit agenda items at board meetings over and over and over again.
Right.
You make a decision and move forward.
I was just going to say, how about if we take a break and come back? We've got 6 more.
Okay.
But with that, we don't want to be too lopsided
Okay.
on the show, so we'll be right back.
Are you ready for a new career? Do you have skills or interest in management, real estate, construction, maintenance, accounting, strategic planning, project management, budgets, human resource management, lawn and landscaping, pool services, or any other expertise needed to operate a community association? If you do, community association management could be for you. For more information, feel free to email Betsy at betsy@floridacamschools.com or visit the Florida Cam Schools website at www.floridacamschools.com. Florida Community Association Management continues to grow. Career opportunities abound.
Thanks for coming back. Betsy Barbieux with Suzanne Lynn. We're talking about board members with CAMs and what makes, a good board member.
Well,
I mean, we're kind of going down a list, and we have stopped at
cooperative.
Cooperative. Yeah.
Cooperative.
Gosh, that's a nice word for board members, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
It is. And it's a realization that not everybody thinks the same, and not everybody's the only right person in the room, which is kind of like, oh, really? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And here's the end result of what I think cooperative is. When a board makes a decision, even if it's not a unanimous vote, if it's like majority vote with Betsy and Larry voting no, Betsy and Larry still walk out of that meeting having consensus with the rest of the board.
Yeah.
Betsy and Larry don't walk out of that meeting and gather their little group of people and go,
Right. How can we mess this up and show them that they were wrong? Yeah.
Consensus or cooperation to me means that we've reached the best decision that could be made at the time. Do I always agree with it? No. But is it the best that could be made right now so that we can move forward?
That seems to be a
Move
repeating
forward.
message.
Oh.
Yes. Yes.
Move forward.
Okay, so being transparent.
They need to share information with each other, and they need to share the decisions that they've made with the membership.
Okay.
The other part of transparent is records are available to the owners. And there are some board members and managers, for some reason, that hold records hostage, and I don't know why.
I don't want to go to that bad place of why they might do that.
I don't know why.
Yeah.
I don't know why. The most common one that I hear is that boards or managers won't let owners see drafts of the minutes because they haven't been approved.
Oh.
What if there's a mistake on them? Well, then you fix it at the next meeting.
Right.
But my understanding is anything that's reduced to written form is an official record. That would be the draft of your minutes. There is no reason on earth not to let an owner see those.
Yeah.
There's no reason. Minutes are not a transcription, so you don't have quotes of people in the minutes. So it's
Right.
not like you have to wait for people to read them to see if they were quoted
I didn't
correctly.
say that, right.
That's
Right.
not what goes in the minutes. I had some discussion with a board member not too long ago, not one of mine, but she was objecting to the drafts being made available because she saw in the last one that who made the motion and who did the second was backwards. And I said, well, in the end, it's irrelevant.
Yeah. It doesn't matter.
In the end, it's irrelevant.
Right.
Well,
And
the
making a big
relevant
stink
part,
over- yeah.
the relevant part is that the motion was made and that it was voted on and that the vote of each board member was recorded in the minutes. So it really is kind of irrelevant as to
Move forward.
Yeah, it's just that, okay. So it was a mistake, but it's still irrelevant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Adaptable.
Yes.
That's the next
That's
one.
the next one. Adaptable. Things change. It's just not going to benefit anybody to say this is the way it's always been done before.
Oh, I got a pain just hearing that.
No, well, we've never done it that way before. And see, one of our shows that we had was about the CAM as a consultant, or if you think about them in the role of a consultant. I am a consultant, and so I will come in when a couple of communities that are needing to make the change from this is the way we've always done it before, but they don't know how to get from there to there. So I've been coming in and helping them make that transition because this particular board that I'm thinking of, they're really good. It's a good group of people. And they realize that they had a foot stuck in the 19th century, 20th century,
20th century,
and we're trying to move them into the 21st century.
Yeah.
And so they're doing real good with adapting.
Well, that's good. You're guiding them.
Yeah.
So that's good. Thick-skinned. Oh, this is good.
And this sounds trite and it sounds mean, but it's not personal.
Right.
It shouldn't be personal. It's business.
Yeah.
When an owner is delinquent, if there's a violation, if there's a disagreement among board members, it's business. And that's real hard. That's real hard for board members and managers sometimes to separate that. There is a feeling, as I talk with managers, I've talked with 2 groups of managers from different parts of the state recently, and there is this awareness that people are getting more and more mean and more personal, and personal attacks, personal threats. Had one manager on the west side of the state who's had to hire a bodyguard to walk around the community because other owners have told her, you better don't be alone. Don't be alone.
I would be moving.
This is wrong. This is wrong. This is wrong.
We could spend a whole lot of time on that one.
Thick-skinned.
Yeah.
It's business, and not everybody is going to agree with everybody. But it really need to stop any personal comments.
Yeah. Be able to ask for help.
Yeah. I mean, you got to be able to ask for help. This is part of what you need to use your CAM for. You need to ask your CAM advice. Your CAM is supposed to be an expert. If they're not, then maybe we should refine your interviewing process.
Right.
but the CAM is an expert.
Yeah.
They know your property backwards and forwards. Hopefully they have a network of other managers and vendors and professionals that they can draw on to help you answer the questions. So hire consultants, hire other experts. You've got your insurance agent, you have your attorney. You hopefully will have engineers who will come help you when you're doing renovations. You get experts to help you write specs for repainting. You get experts to help you write the specs for the repaving, all those kinds of things. There's no point in doing those yourself. No. You need to ask for help.
And the 10th, among, I'm sure, a much longer list, but this kind of seems to be the core 10, what makes a good board member for a community is being able to delegate.
Delegate.
You can't do it all yourself,
No.
and you shouldn't do it all yourself.
You
That's
shouldn't.
not good.
And see, that's, again, just a little bit of a difference here between a regular corporation CEO and our kind of corporation board of directors with a president, vice president, secretary, treasurer. The statutes do not allow any one person to have unilateral authority.
Right.
So in our communities, the president is not the CEO.
Okay.
They do not make, even though I see some documents that use that term, that's in error. That's in error because the statutes say that you can't make any unilateral decisions. Now, what I do see is from time to time, a board will delegate to an officer or a board member a certain area of oversight and let them make...
That's delegation.
But that's
Right,
delegating.
right,
That's the delegating part. But the... otherwise, the delegating to other professionals is what's needed. And talking to a board president yesterday, and he said, well, I'm the mayor of a city, and I can do whatever I want to, and I don't need committees or anything, and I don't need to talk with other board members about anything. I can do it all. I've just decided it wasn't worth me saying anything.
That's why you're smiling today. You just let it go. Sometimes let it go.
There's just some wisdom in not arguing.
Betsy, this is a great list. Again, it's 10 characteristics of an effective board member and then what they should have to best serve their community.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I was thinking about this list. This would make a great list for a spouse and a sibling and a son and a daughter and all kinds of good people. I mean, this is a good list of just being good.
Being a team player. This
Yeah.
is a list for a team player. Consistent, fair, conscientious, detail-oriented, cooperative, transparent, adaptable, thick-skinned, able to ask for help, and able to delegate.
Yeah.
That just makes a good team player.
It really does. Betsy, thanks for joining us. Don't forget to please like this. When you subscribe, you get a little, notification when a new show drops, as they say. So hit the like and be sure to share this information. It's really good information. You got the best here. Yeah. Have a good one. We'll catch you later.
Thank you for listening to CAM Matters. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss any future episodes. For more information, feel free to email Betsy at betsy@floridacamschools.com or visit the Florida Cam Schools website at www.floridacamschools.com. Information provided on this show is general in nature and does not constitute legal advice. Please contact a licensed attorney for your specific situation.